Yeah, I guess that in the press also you have like the two sides, which are probably also like the two sides of Turkey. There is one probably like progressive, more modern, and one which is more traditional. It's also geographically, right? I mean, this is happening in the region where there is a strong traditionalist.
There are some points. I think Istanbul, of course, is not Turkey. Istanbul it's a very divided country, as far as I can say, and you will find all this in Istanbul. So very liberal people, but also very conservative people. The more you go to the east, it's getting more conservative, of course. But on the other hand, people don't know. It's not that kind of communication. It has to do with a lot of things. You cannot judge it on it general. People say just, yeah, I mean, it's for sure the East is very conservative. Yes, it is, but it also has to do with the lack of communication, and people are not aware, and they don't have the chance to read enough. And this is why this movie at the end ends with the teacher, because education means everything. And one thing more I have to say. The director never meant it as to be a very realistic, so-called documentary feature film. It's a fairy tale. It has lots of pieces which can happen, which really actually happen, but it's not like this is the documentary. It's like it is.
One maybe just I will give you then the floor to the public, but just one thing that you told me that actually the scene when you see the football match, that is actually a real story, that it really happened, that I think 3 or 4 years ago, that men were banned from a football match because of some troubles before. So this is also interesting that she took it as something quite symbolic, I think, in the film.
I think it's a very good example what can happen if you mean something, but it's coming out the other way, because they thought the people who decide this, they thought it's the biggest punishment you can do for men. But on the other side, the women, they didn't realize that women like football. So you know, this is how it comes, and it's from a women's perspective, because okay, I'm the producers are men, but we just followed this, but it's all women. The 2 auteurs are women, the director is a woman, and you see the 5 ladies, they're women. So it's a women's perspective. The whole movie is a women's perspective. This is very important.
I have some more questions, but I'm sure the audience would like to ask you several things. So now you have a chance. There is a microphone over there, so don't hesitate. Or maybe just comments, reactions. Okay, then maybe one more question about the actors. Then you can prepare your questions in between. One question about the actors, because you told me that all except one, I don't know which one, were first-time actors as well. So it's really, the whole team is really doing film for the first time. And I think you see a bit this freshness now. But how were they casted? How come that she did not want to work maybe with more experienced actors, at least with some experience?
She was always looking for 5 girls who are sort of like a hubris. With, you know, it's one person and you have 5 different arms. She describes it as that. And the one, Etche, the one who commits suicide, that was the only girl who has done 2 movies before. The other one never worked before camera. And for instance, the one who married this poor guy, you know, the guy who was looking at the bed, where's the blood, where's the blood? She was casted at the airport. She saw her at the airport, and it was really like this. So it's not our, so we can't be. It's how we did it. It's all her.
So there was not a huge casting, like seeing 100 people to select just one. It was a bit.
There was a casting, of course, in Istanbul, because you have to do it, but it was not a huge casting, and she was very precise in what she's doing. For us, the problem was, as producers, it was because you had to finance very quickly, because they grow up, and from one year to the other year, and you can't shoot. And Denise, the director, was when we started shooting, she was pregnant, so there was another time frame. But it all worked out at the end.
And what was the time span, let's say, between starting of the shooting to the end of the post-production?
We started shooting September 2014, and yeah, we were ready for Cannes, which was May.
Yeah, which is quite...
the baby came in February.
Which is quite short, actually, especially for the first-time film, which was not with the huge budget, huge production companies. And so maybe you have a question now. There is one question over there.
Hi, it's working? Yeah. So thank you for this beautiful movie, I really appreciate it. And you said that you talked about the way the movie was welcomed or not in Turkey, but I also would like to know about the director, Denise. How is she, does she live in Turkey, and how is her work received, and does she have any problem with shooting her movies and presenting her movies to the public?
Okay. She was born, Denise is born in Ankara, but she moved very early because her father is a diplomat, and she moved very early to Paris. And so her film socialization was French. I mean, she went to La Fémis, to the French film school, and but she lives in both towns. She lives in Paris and in Istanbul. So she is traveling backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. The view is a different view, and this is part of the discussion in Turkey, because some of the people in Turkey say this is a Western view. It's not anymore the Turkish view. It's a French Turkish view or European Turkish view. But that's part of the bigger discussion, because it's a fairy tale. So you can open that up. But this is what a lot of the more conservative side is saying. This is not we. It's not us.
Representative of the Turkish society.
Yeah. And she so far she didn't have that problem, because she did 2 short films before at film school, and this is her really first movie. So.
Yeah, the problems will start now, probably.
But just to say something more, I mean, it was a big surprise for us. It's money from the Turkish ministry is in here. You could see it in the titles. So.
Yeah, which shows that there are really different...
It's never simple. It's never black and white and black and white. I mean, even with this censorship, you don't know what they decide. It's just...
Also simply in Turkey, you know, it was one of the first countries, as you probably know, to give the voting rights to women. I think it was in the 30s, yeah.
Much.
And it was a very late country until some years ago. So then I think you still have these 2 aspects of the Turkish society.
Definitely.
So this is also interesting that you see it in the film itself, in the way it was produced, it was received, and so on. Anyone? There's a question over there. You can maybe speak up, or you pass the mic, maybe.
Hello, nice movie. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you how protective is the Turkish law with women rights? How evolved it is nowadays?
Oh my God! I mean, maybe I'm not the right person to answer that. But I'm not an expert in Turkish law.
Maybe there's a Turkish person here that can explain this. Oh, okay. Well, feel free. I will give you my mic.
Yeah. So for film, yeah.
It was a wonderful film. So
thank you.
We are not here to talk about politics. Thank you. You can ask other questions, but not politics.
Actually, I think it was not politics, but I just want to say that Turkey, I mean, we don't have any women right problems. Okay, it can be seen for Europeans, can be problematic, but it's not that problematic actually. But by the way, also thank you for the supporting Diren Gezi things. I saw some stuff about Gezi protests. Thank you for it.
Yeah.
Do you have some questions? Or?
No, I think what was very nice in the film within the story is that you see a little bit of the changes in Turkey within the last few years. I mean, you see the lady, the grandmother put on her headscarf, for example, quickly when she sees the other person. And I think what's so beautiful about this film is that it really uses a subtle way of telling you this story without throwing it in your face or without, you know, shouting at it. And I think it's a really nice, it's a very well directed film. I'm very touched by it.
Thank you. And I think it's too short to think only about Turkey, because we have experience now. The film was released in France. It was very successful in France so far. It was released here in Belgium. It was released in Israel, which was extraordinary success in Israel. We didn't expect that. It's released now since 1.5 weeks in Italy. So it's going quite good in Italy. And so we make all our experience. But there is one common thing we hope this will go on, and we can see now. It's of course a Turkish movie, which happens. The story happens in Turkey, but there is. I think Denise's big success is that she finds a female language of cinema. Let's call it like that, which goes into the emotions of people and all over. And it's not okay. It's that place. It's that story. But there's something more, which happens all over the world.
It's human as well.
Yes.
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 Very human story.
Yes. Exactly.
And Frank told me actually that the film is really universal. I also think it's quite universal, and it will be released really worldwide in several dozens of countries.
Yeah, we were very happy that, as I told you before, on the 20th is the release in the US, which is a very, very special thing. Germany, we are very late. We will be the 3rd of March, but in the meantime, there will be UK, I think, every country you even can think of, apart from China now.
Maybe there's a censorship issue as well.
I don't know.
Who knows? Any other questions or comments? I still wanted. Oh.
Is Denise Sofia Coppola fan?
Yeah, basically she's denying that. This came up directly after the Cannes success. It was a huge success. It was not in the main part of Cannes. It was not in the competition. It was in the quinzaine, but people really loved it, and immediately it comes from the press. People said, "Oh yes, this is a new Virgin Suicide." There is a similarity, but I don't think so, because she sees it more as a movie breaking out. You build a sort of jail, and then you want to go out. So it's more like escape from Alcatraz. You know, that's what she's saying. So.
Do you know if Denise has any other projects, and the actors as well?
I know she has, but
you cannot.
I cannot tell you. And what happened is, if a film like this is going so well, and touch wood, she's now under contract with a U.S. agency, and all the 5 girls are under contract with a U.S. agency. And so we don't know. I think she's very, very intelligent, and I know she's very, very intelligent. So she will be not, yes, this is Hollywood now. So she will really carefully think what she's doing. And my feeling is it will be a European project, but we will see.
And maybe, is there any question? And maybe also a question which is more general to the co-productions, because of course Lux Prize is wants to foster this European collaboration, and of course the distribution in different countries. And, but here I think there's 5 or even 6 co-production countries. Sometimes this very difficult scheme, I mean this makes things more difficult, no? Like to solve, because you need to shoot a certain number of days over there to get some funds and so on. Did you have any this kind of issues with this?
This is boring for the people. I think what is interesting is that it started in Turkey, and she, with that script, the first stage of the script, she went to Turkey and she spoke to the Turkish authorities, and they didn't say no. At that time they didn't say yes, but they didn't say no. And then of course, because it was she's living in France as well, she found a very small French production company, and they developed it a little bit further. Then they met me, which was quite in an early stage, and then we were 2, so we were 2 countries and a little bit Turkey. And it went very well in terms of financing because the script was really good. This is not always the case, and we can be lucky, but it was a strong story, and everybody thought about this. And then, so it wasn't problematic, I have to say, and I mean, Germany is not like that. They say, hooray, this is a Turkish-speaking movie, and now we give you all the money. I mean, it's not like that. But the story was strong. And then 6 weeks before shooting, the French producer left the project. Yeah, so I don't know. And I never had this in 30 years, that the main producer, the delegate producer, is leaving the project. So it was Denise and me. And I don't have access to French money, of course. And then we had a period of struggling and what can we do, and everything was there. Was in Turkey, and then Charles Gilibert came on board, who became the French lead producer now, and it's a bigger company, and it went out quite well. So, but it was a story. So for her, it was really.
But then at the very end, you had also some US co-producers or money actually?
No US money. No. It's French-German money. It's a little bit Turkish money, and then we had Qatar, yeah. which is not really a co-producer. We needed some more money for the post-production because we wanted to do special things like the titles. If you see that with the lines, and this was a little bit money at the end because it's a first-time movie, so it's not a big budget. It's 1.2 million. So.